There's a pattern Carl Jung observed in his most empathic patients that disturbed him deeply. They would come to therapy, do the work, understand their wounds, set boundaries, make real progress. But then they'd hit an invisible wall. The same painful dynamics would resurface. The same types of people would drain them. The same exhaustion would return. And Jung realized these empaths weren't failing because they lacked insight or commitment. They were suffering because they'd never learned 4 fundamental lessons that separate empaths who thrive from empaths who spend their entire lives being consumed by others. Today I'm going to show you these 4 lessons Jung identified, not because understanding them feels good, but because ignoring them guarantees a life of depletion, resentment, and relationships that take everything while giving nothing back. Jung noticed something that his empathic patients refused to accept. They treated their empathy like an infinite resource, like a well that would never run dry no matter how many people came to draw from it. They'd give emotional support to everyone who asked. They'd absorb pain from strangers. They'd carry the weight of entire family systems on their shoulders, and they genuinely believed this was their purpose. But Jung saw what they couldn't see. Their bodies were keeping score. The migraines that appeared after particularly draining interactions. The exhaustion that no amount of sleep could fix. The anxiety that lived in their chest like a permanent resident. The empaths would dismiss these signals. They'd push through. They'd tell themselves they just needed to be stronger, more resilient, better at managing their sensitivity. Jung would tell you this is like ignoring the fuel gauge in your car because you believe willpower should keep the engine running. Your empathy operates on energy, real, measurable, finite energy. And when you spend it without replenishing it, you don't become more empathic. You become depleted, reactive, and eventually so exhausted that you can't access your empathy at all. The empaths who ignore this lesson end up in what Jung called empathic bankruptcy. They've given so much for so long that they have nothing left, not for others, and especially not for themselves. They become resentful, bitter, burned out, and they blame themselves for not being empathic enough, never realizing that the problem wasn't their capacity for empathy. It was their refusal to treat it as the precious, limited resource it actually is. The lesson isn't to stop being empathic. It's to become fiercely protective of your empathic energy. To recognize that you can't pour from an empty cup isn't a cliché. It's a biological reality. To understand that saying no to demands on your empathy isn't selfishness, it's survival. Jung observed a devastating pattern in empaths who struggled most. They confused tolerance for love. They believed that accepting mistreatment, absorbing dysfunction, and giving endless chances was what it meant to care deeply about someone. And because they genuinely did care, they couldn't see they were being exploited. Here's what Jung found. The people who drain empaths aren't usually strangers. They're family members who've learned that guilt works. Friends who only call when they need something. Partners who weaponize the empath's compassion to avoid accountability. These people don't wake up thinking, how can I exploit this empath today? They've simply learned, often unconsciously, that this particular person will always give more than they take. The empaths who suffer most are the ones who interpret these one-sided dynamics as proof of their capacity to love unconditionally. They wear their depletion like a badge of honor. I'm there for everyone, they say, as if being perpetually available to people who never reciprocate is virtue rather than dysfunction. Jung would tell you that real love requires reciprocity, not perfect balance but genuine mutual care. When someone consistently takes and never gives, that's not a relationship, it's extraction. And the person doing the extracting will continue as long as you allow it. Because why wouldn't they? You've taught them through repeated action that there are no consequences for treating you poorly. The empaths who learn this lesson stop confusing self-sacrifice with love. They recognize that the people who genuinely care about them don't want them depleted, don't pressure them past their limits, don't punish them for having boundaries. They understand that if withdrawing your empathy causes someone to disappear from your life, they were never there for you. They were there for what you provided. Jung noticed that his empathic patients would endure years of mistreatment to avoid a single uncomfortable conversation. They'd accept disrespect, tolerate boundary violations, absorb others' dysfunction, all to maintain what they called peace. But Jung recognized this wasn't peace. It was conflict avoidance masquerading as harmony. The empaths who ignore this lesson operate under a devastating belief that their comfort matters less than everyone else's. That causing someone momentary discomfort by speaking truth is worse than enduring years of their own suffering in silence. That being the easy person, the one who never causes problems, is more important than being the honest person, the one who names what's actually happening. Here's what this avoidance costs. The empath becomes a container for everyone else's denied reality. The family member who says cruel things but insists they were joking. The friend who takes and never gives but gets defensive when confronted. The partner who makes promises they never keep but accuses the empath of being too demanding when they ask for basic reciprocity. The empath absorbs all of this, swallows their truth, minimizes their own experience, tells themselves maybe they're too sensitive, too demanding, too much, and the dysfunction continues, growing larger, because no one is willing to name it. Jung found that empaths who learn to tolerate conflict don't become aggressive or cruel. They become honest. They stop protecting other people from the consequences of their own behavior. They say, "When you do this, it hurts me, and I need it to stop." They allow others to be uncomfortable with that truth. They let relationships end if the other person refuses to treat them with basic respect. This lesson requires accepting something that terrifies most empaths, that some people will choose their dysfunction over your relationship. And when they do, it's information, not about your worth, but about their capacity. The empaths who suffer indefinitely are the ones who keep trying to have real relationships with people who've proven they're not capable of reciprocity. This is the lesson Jung saw empaths resist most fiercely. They'd do the therapeutic work, they'd understand their patterns, they'd develop boundaries, and then they'd go right back to the relationships that damaged them in the first place, convinced that now, with their new tools, things would be different. Jung would tell you this is like learning to swim, and then choosing to practice in a tank full of sharks. The problem isn't your swimming ability, it's the environment you're trying to survive in. The empaths who keep suffering are the ones who believe that healing means being able to tolerate toxic people without being affected by them. They think the goal is to become so resilient that nothing can hurt them anymore. So they return to the parent who's never been capable of emotional support, to the friend who only takes, to the partner who uses their empathy as a weapon. And they're shocked when they get hurt again. They blame themselves. I must not be healed enough. I must need to work harder on my boundaries. I must be doing something wrong. But Jung saw clearly, you're not doing something wrong. You're expecting people to be different than they've consistently proven themselves to be. The lesson isn't that you can never have boundaries with difficult people. It's that some people have proven through years of consistent behavior that they're not safe for you, and no amount of healing on your part will change who they are. The healthiest thing you can do isn't to return with better boundaries. It's to recognize that some relationships aren't meant to be maintained, and walking away isn't failure, it's wisdom. If you're an empath who keeps suffering despite doing everything right, ask yourself which of these lessons you're still refusing to learn. Because Jung found that empaths don't suffer from a lack of empathy. They suffer from a lack of discernment about where to direct it, from treating their energy like it's unlimited when it's not, from confusing tolerance with love, from avoiding conflict at the cost of their own truth, from believing healing means being able to withstand toxicity, rather than having the wisdom to remove yourself from it. You're not meant to be a repository for everyone else's pain. You're not meant to deplete yourself, to prove your capacity for love. You're not meant to avoid truth to maintain false peace. You're not meant to keep returning to relationships that harm you just because you've developed better coping mechanisms. Jung would tell you that real empathic strength isn't measured by how much you can endure. It's measured by how wisely you direct your care, how fiercely you protect your energy, how honestly you communicate your truth, how clearly you recognize when someone has proven they're not safe for your empathy. These 4 lessons aren't about becoming less empathic. They're about becoming empathic in ways that don't destroy you. And every day you ignore them is another day you spend suffering needlessly, giving your precious energy to people who will never value it, while the life you're meant to live waits for you to finally choose yourself.